Donald Trump is preparing to pay El Salvador to house U.S. citizens in their prisons. Now, this all started because, well, El Salvador already houses immigrants that the United States has deported. And they have this particularly notorious prison where presumably they beat and I guess sometimes murder the prisoners there. And we had hosted the El Salvadorian president, and Donald Trump and he were kind of bragging and having a great time talking about the treatment of prisoners and how they're going to help clean up the United States and how they're going to help send U.S. citizens there as well. Now, this is pretty clearly illegal. And part of it has to do with this guy who was deported by the Trump administration accidentally. How do we know that it happened? Because they said so. They said it was a glitch. It was like basically an error, that he wasn't in fact actually one of the people who was supposed to be sent. But now that he's there, El Salvador's like, well, he belongs to us. We're going to keep him. So the Trump administration, in theory, can ignore an order from the Supreme Court saying that they have to help bring him back because he was deported out of an error. This guy who's a father and a metal sheet worker here in the United States, just happens to be also an illegal immigrant, is now housed in one of the most violent and dangerous prisons in the world. And here's the kicker. He escaped from El Salvador in the first place to escape gang violence. And now he is housed where all of these gangs are, meaning that his life is probably in extraordinary danger. So the problem here is, well, the Trump administration is, while at the same time saying that he was kicked out by virtue of a glitch, is also calling him a terrorist. And they're going to use that word, and you're going to see that they're going to use that word more because they're hoping that it gives them more leeway to not have to engage in due process. Now, due process, you're hearing thrown around a lot, and you're probably like, oh, whatever. Due process literally means the requirement that people are convicted of crimes. This man was convicted of no crime. He was not found guilty of any kind of violent crime. The only thing that he did was he came to the United States. We knew that he was in the United States, allowed him to stay and work in the United States, and now he's in prison for all of this. That due process is something that they want to be able to deny all of us by being able to call us terrorists. It's illegal to send us to prisons in other countries. But the hope is when they're saying that they want to be able to send criminals, how do they know that someone's a criminal without actually having to present evidence in court and actually having to have a conviction? And for some of you right now, you're like, well, that's great. Get rid of the violent people. You're saying that until they come for you. Thanks so much for watching. If these kinds of issues are important to you, please subscribe. Every day I try to put out content on politics, current events, and science from a philosopher's perspective. If you check out my page, you'll find that I do some longer videos where I go really in depth into some of the details on this stuff. And most importantly, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.